I have a really bad pain on my back. I think it's because of all those years being Spider-Man, you know? Sure, buddy. Do you want me to crack your back? Well, okay. What? 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 Hey everybody! How's everything going? Welcome to Custom Toys EC, a series of videos where I'm gonna talk about all the freaky stuff that we all freakies love. And for this customizing video review, we're going to take a look at this beautiful Spider-Man No Way Home action figure. And I gotta say, I love this suit, but I am not really sure about the figure. I mean, I love the red plastic especially, but the red paint that they put here on his belt is not so great. And also, the legs are painted. This is not real plastic, so that's going to be fixed a little bit. So all those parts, and especially the webbing lines of the suit, I'm going to make that. So with no further ado, let's get to it. And probably you are thinking, why didn't I do an unboxing for this figure? And it is because I found it really cheap without a box. It costed around 15 bucks, I think. So yeah, it was a bargain. First thing is taking out the hands. These pieces that he uses on his wrist, I believe they're the web shooters. And this guy is good to go. So as you can see on this part, the red is really dark, and I am going to try to, with my acrylic primary red, get closer to that tone. So for the most part, I believe it's going to be just a simple and really thin coat over the painted red. The real process to paint clear colors like reds and, primary colors for them to look sharp and bright, it's to paint over white, not over the dark plastic. I believe in a couple of figures, Hasbro figures, Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series, they have done that a few times, but not that often. And that is the reason why you can tell which parts are actually painted and which parts are plastic. I gotta say, most of the times it doesn't look that good. So what you have to do is take a little bit of white, emulating a slight pink color, like I'm doing right now, and apply it over it, because you can go on hours and you're never gonna get the tone closer to that plastic. So that's always a pain in the butt. This is what I like calling small washes of color. And the part that I am most frustrated about, it's the belt. Because it's obvious. It's obvious how different they are. And I gotta say, me painting it, it's not helping that much. Probably it's going to look a little bit more saturated, but not exactly as the color of the plastic, and that is sad. Another trick that can also be useful is putting a little bit of yellow, and doing a slightly orange tone. Now that's the best I can do. I mean, it's just too difficult. I could go on and paint it white first, but that process is way too long and way too hard. Or if you're not enough patient, your paint job is going to be destroyed. Because what you need to do in that case is waiting until that paint is completely dry and then apply the next coat. Luckily for these acrylics, they get dry really fast and they help you with that. I don't even like the boots. The feet are okay because they're plastic, they're red plastic, but the other parts are just painted and it's not that great. And hopefully with these coats, with this washes of red, it's going to be a little bit more, like I said before, saturated. And luckily we're not going to be able to see the plastic underneath because I can still see it over here, over some areas. So while I am fixing this Tom Holland Spider-Man, tell me, did you like the No Way Home movie? I think personally that it was great. It was one of the most important cinematic moments of my life and the entire generation of fans, I think. I can't wait for Hasbro to release Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I do have the Toy Biz Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from 2002, the original figure of the movie. Wow. This first coat, these boots look way better than before. But I'm not really sure about the gauntlets. They're just not great yet. So I have to go again with white. It's too dark. But I promise you it's going to look way better at the end. Now look, the gauntlet's still really dark. And it's all the fault of the plastic underneath. It's just too dark for anybody to put any other tone and covering. It's almost impossible. You're always going to get that tone. And I just noticed that I touched this part of the belt and now it's all destroyed. It doesn't matter. I'm going to correct it right now. So it doesn't matter how many coats I put on there, always going to look darker. Something I want to try is to put a small touch of this paint here on the shoulders because it's the same case. And even the paint is way glossy. I don't know if you can see, and I just don't get it. Those choices always intrigue me. I've never seen a perfect figure. And if the figure doesn't need any paint, I guarantee that even the articulations need to be fixed. This outer part, I know that most of the time those parts are not going to be seen, but for the sake of doing this figure correctly, we're going to give it a small touch. I really love how the boots look now, way better than before, and I do think they need a little coat so I can seal the boots. Now before I forget, please remember to like, subscribe, and recommend this content to all your friends, okay? Whenever you have any questions, you can also comment anything that you would like to know. The shoulders look way better than before. Small coat again. Closer to the red of the plastic. The closer that I can get. Like I told you before, it's almost impossible to exactly get the plastic color. There are always going to be differences. And I am really frustrated with the belt. I feel almost as if I'm never gonna get the tone. Let's see what happens if I put this tone. That's everything that I can do, I promise you. Now the last coat for the gauntlets. And it's going to be the last coat because if you put too much paint on it, you're going to lose detail. And yeah, you don't want that. And I am not going to touch those thin lines just because I don't want to deal with that. I believe they're pretty accurate, and to be honest, I don't care too much about them. If it were for me, I would paint them, with this dark gray that is the color of the suit. There's too much detail involved there. So there it is. I'm not going to do anything else to this guy. So let's wait until this guy is dry, and we are going to prepare the dark color for his web lines. So let's see if I can find in my palettes a really cool gray that can help me with that. I noticed I need a little bit of this really dark gray. I am not going to make those lines black. That is going to be too much for the character. I want it to be smooth, not that hard. And starting the detail, I'm going to practice on his hands. Don't forget to use the thinnest brush that you have for doing this type of detail. There is the first hand. The detail is incredible. And those lines already look dark. Imagine if I put black on it. This paint is even diluted with water. I just don't dare to put it directly from the bottle. Subtle detail is way better than doing a hard detail. Now I'm going to bring an even thinner brush than that one, so we can do the head. Pop this off. Let's get started. This part always puts me nervous. I can't bear when a figure is not perfect to my eyes. Well, this brush is so thin it goes all the way inside the line without touching the other part. Now another good idea is to go part by part. You don't need to go all the way through because then there are going to appear some differences. I want it to look even. Try a little bit on my glove, so I take the excess out, and it's really subtle. I don't know if you can tell, but like I told you, I hate to put black on those lines. That only works on comic figures. No, that's too much for that line, as you can see. I didn't take out the excess, so I have to start over with that line. So guys, all this process has been really tough. You know that Hasbro never paints these lines. That has to be done by hand, and it's not really nice to do this, but at least you have something to do. That's it. It's all done. But there's another step that has to be done to complete this custom, and it's going to be to clean the excess of paint that has gotten out of the shape. We're gonna do this with a small Q-tip. Now my advice is taking a small piece of plastic with this cap right here and fill it with thinner. Then take the Q-tip and slightly pass it through the surface. This is going to take all the excess. You don't want to take everything we did out, so this is only for the highest part of the surface. I even want to touch a little bit those eyes, so let's see what happens. One thing I noticed with red plastics is that they tend to decolor with time, especially with sunlight and also with paint thinner like this. So that is why we're just rubbing it really softly. The lines are way more delicate than before. The sculpt on this figure is amazing. You really had to take advantage of that. And look, I'm going to show you closer. The head looks incredible. And the nose. And the hands. Now the boots. The shoes are actual plastic, but the boots are painted, so if I take the Q-tip and pass it, I'm going to rub the paint out. So I'm going to use another technique for that part. I'm going to show you in a minute. First, I want to clean up the body because I know I made some more than mistakes. The lines are so thin that some paint could go outside. Careful with the spider. It doesn't matter if you take the paint off because everything can be fixed. I'm bringing my brush again. This is going to do the trick, making a little bit more of that paint that I did before. No, and just pass it wherever you find that the paint of the lines has gotten out. Now, something I just noticed is that the body, the hard plastic part, got a little bit of white, and that is because of the thinness. So it doesn't matter, you just put a little bit more of thinned down ink, and that's going to correct it. See? No problem at all. So, there it is. The paint on this Tom Holland Spiderman is done. And put the head back. So, web shooters. This guy is ready to accompany his brothers on his next adventure. So tell me, did you like this customizing process? Would you do the same to your Spider-Man figures? I really recommend it. It looks really great. So don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and recommend this content to all of your friends that may be interested in customizing and all the great stuff that we're preparing for you. So stay tuned for the before and after, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.